Namo Phat, good morning. Thanks for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. For Dharma lessons, we're reading Ajahn Chah's book, Everything is Teaching Us, and we're continuing in this talk, Wholehearted Training. After that, we first got ice here. We saw some sugar once in a while too. Mrs. Deng had gone to Bangkok. When she talked about the way we lived, she would start crying. People who hadn't seen the life of meditation monks had no idea what it was like. Eating once a day, was that making progress or falling behind? I don't know what to call it. On alms round, people would make little packages of chili sauce to put in our bowls in addition to the rice. Whatever we got, we would bring it back, share it out, and eat. Whether we had different items that people liked, or whether the food was tasty or not, was never something we discussed. We just ate to be full, and that was it. It was really simple. There were no plates or bowls. Everything went into the alms bowl. Nobody came here to visit. At night, everyone went to their kutis to practice. Even dogs couldn't bear to stay here. The kutis were far apart and far from the meeting place. After everything was done at the end of the day, we separated and entered the forest to go to our kutis. That made the dogs afraid they wouldn't have any safe place to stay. So they would follow the monks into the forest, but when they went up into their kutis, the dogs would be left alone and felt afraid. So they would try to follow another monk, but that monk would also disappear into his kuti. So even dogs couldn't live here. This was our life of practicing meditation. I thought about this sometimes. Even the dogs can't bear it, but still, we live here. Pretty extreme. Made me a little melancholy too. All kinds of obstacles. We lived with fear, but we faced death, and we all survived. Beyond facing death, we had to live with difficult conditions, such as poor food. But it was never a concern. When I look back to the conditions at that time compared to the conditions we have now, they are so far apart. Before, we never had bowls or plates. Everything was put together in the alms bowl. Now that can be done. So if 100 monks are eating, we need 5 people to wash dishes afterwards. Sometimes they're still washing up when it's time for the Dharma talk. This kind of thing makes for complications. I don't know what to do about it. I'll just leave it to you to use your own wisdom to consider. It doesn't have an end. Those who like to complain will always find something else to complain about, no matter how good the conditions are. So the result is that the monks have become extremely attached to flavors and aromas. Sometimes I overhear them talking about their ascetic wandering. Oh boy, the food is really great there. I went Tudong to the south, by the coast, and I ate lots of shrimp. I ate big ocean fish. This is what they talk about. When the mind is taken up with such concerns, it's easy to get attached and immersed in desire for food. Uncontrolled minds are roaming about and getting stuck in sights, sounds, smells, tastes, physical sensations, and ideas, and practicing Dharma becomes difficult. It becomes difficult for an Ajahn to teach people to follow the right way when they are attached to tastes. It's like raising a dog. If you just feed it plain rice, it will grow strong and healthy. But give it some tasty curry on top of its rice for a couple of days, and after that, it won't look at plain rice anymore. Sights, sounds, smells, and tastes are the undoing of Dharma practice. They can cause a lot of harm. If each one of us does not contemplate the use of our four requisites, robes, alms food, dwelling, and medicines, the Buddha's way cannot flourish. You cannot look and see that however much material progress and development there is in the world, the confusion and suffering of humans increase right along with it. And after it goes on for some time, it's almost impossible to find a solution. Thus I say that when you go to a monastery, you see the monks, the temple, and the kutis, but you don't see the Buddha sasana. The sasana is in decline like this. It's easy to observe. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanks so much for joining me today.